first thing that you're going to need to do is open iRespond. Simply double click on it. Your username is in capital letters, your badge ID. The password is in lowercase, the word teacher. When you click login, it's going to take a while for the program to start. Often you'll get a command that asks you, do you want to overwrite the current list? And click yes, you do want to overwrite. That's just updating the students in your list. Now that you've gotten in, the key is to work from the top left to the top right and then move down to the lower left. So we're going to start by selecting how we want this to be done. I'm going to choose a session type. Instructor paced means that I, as the teacher, will be deciding how quickly it goes. Power presenter means that I'll be showing this on a PowerPoint presentation. Student paced means that the students have their own copy and they are going to be working through this at their own pace. They won't need to see the computer screen in order to decide what to do. For this example, I'm going to choose student paced. Now I'm moving right one box. I'm going to choose the class that I want, so I'll choose my roster. You'll see that my students appear in the list down here. Next, I'm going to decide what test I want to take. The tests at the top are generally tests that have been sent out by the county. You'll notice that these are mainly IMIs, checkpoints, benchmarks. And then a little bit lower down, you'll see my test banks. Even if you haven't made a test, you'll more than likely have a couple of samples there. For instance, the demo test should be in everybody's test banks. For this one, I'm going to choose what we'll be looking at throughout, which is the quadrilaterals quiz. So I click. It takes just a second to pull up the quadrilaterals quiz. I see that it has found it, and I can see this in the Edit Test Banks box down at the bottom here. I also need to move right one more time to the Remote Devices box, and I'm going to choose the Kennedy's remotes, which I set up back when we first got our systems. Now I've covered all of the things up at the top, and I can leave these things blank because it's filled it in for me. Down here, now that I'm moving down to the bottom portion, I have a few different options. Limit users to single login. That means that when kids finish, they can't go back and log in again and retake the test. Typically, I don't find that to be a problem in elementary school, so I tend not to check that. Send scores at the end of the session. That means that when the students finish the test on their remote, they are going to see their results. It'll say the percentage that they got correct, and also the percentage that the class on average got correct if that feature has been enabled. Allow anonymous logins. At this point, there's really no need for that because you want to see which students are getting which scores. So I'm going to leave all of those blank at this point, and my next step is going to be to click Start. When I click Start, I get this box that says Finding the Base Unit. This is where I'm going to need to plug in my base unit. Now it's time to take your base unit, the square box with the antenna hooked onto it. It also has a USB cord coming out of it. Go ahead and take that USB cord and plug it into one of the USB outlets on your computer. As soon as that's done, turn on the base unit just by pressing the power button. And when you do that, this box will change. Instead of saying no iRespond light bases found, it will say one iRespond light base found. Once you see that, go ahead and press Next, and that will take you to a screen allowing students to start logging in. Once students are told to log in, they first need to turn on their remote using that power button. Next, they need to go down to the number pad here and enter their typical school username. After they've typed in their full username, they click the Send button. At this point, students should get a message on their screen that says Login Sent and then Login Accepted. For the teacher, you'll be able to look at your screen and see which of your students have been able to log in. There are times when the remotes don't want to accept the login. The best thing to do is to turn the remote off again and then turn it back on and try again. There are occasions when the remote simply won't work. The best thing to do is to take the student's remote, give them a different remote, and try to log in again on that remote. Typically that will resolve the problem. Now that students have all logged in successfully, it's the teacher's turn to press the start button on the testing screen. This will send an indication to the remotes that it's time to start the test, and the screens on the remotes will stop saying login accepted. Now they will start showing numbers. The first number will obviously be the number 1, and also showing on that same screen will be the last number in the test to show students which number they're on and also how much farther they have to go. If this is a student-paced test, like what I selected at the beginning, then students will be able to move through this at their own pace. They'll just simply be entering in answers from a test or quiz or assignment that they were given. If students are working in an instructor-paced test, then they will only see the number of the question that I will be showing them at that time. They cannot work ahead because obviously if it's instructor-paced, they will not even know what the next question is yet. Now that you know how to set up the equipment that you've been given with the iRespond system and actually start a test, now we'll move on to how to create tests on your own.